Hello and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred today in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things I personally find intriguing enough for me to bring to you. The source of this information comes from the smart device application On This Day, the icon of which is shown as cutoff prevention at the beginning and end of each episode. The music in the background is We Were Infinite by Inukshuk, which I found on the YouTube channel No Copyright Sounds, aka NCS. For links to the app, music, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar. Anyway, on with the show! Today is Freya's Day, aka Friday, June 17th, 2016. In 1994, following a televised low-speed highway chase, O.J. Simpson was arrested for the murders of his wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ronald Goldman. In 1992, a joint understanding agreement on arms reduction was signed by U.S. President George Bush and Russian President Boris Yeltsin. This act would later become codified in START II. In 1991, the South African Parliament repealed the Population Registration Act, which had required racial classification of all South Africans at birth. In 1987, with the death of the last individual of the species, the dusky seaside sparrow became extinct. In 1985, the first Arab, whom was also the first Muslim to ever reach outer space, Sultan bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, was part of the STS-51G space mission as its payload specialist aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery. In 1967, the People's Republic of China announced a successful test of its first thermonuclear weapon. In 1963, a day after South Vietnamese President Ngo Dinh Diem announced the joint communique to end the Buddhist crisis. A riot involving 2,000 people broke out, resulting in one death. Also in 1963, the United States Supreme Court ruled in 8-1 in Bangtan School District versus Shemp against requiring the reciting of Bible verses and the Lord's Prayer in public schools. In 1960, the Nez Perce tribe was awarded $4 million for 7 million acres, or 28,000 kilometers squared, of land which was undervalued at 4 cents per acre in the 1864 treaty. In 1958, the Iron Workers Memorial Second Narrows Crossing, while under construction to connect Vancouver and North Vancouver, Canada, collapsed into the Burrard Inlet, causing the deaths and injury of many of the ironworkers. In 1944, Iceland declared independence from Denmark and became a republic. In 1940, the three Baltic states of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania fell under the occupation of the Soviet Union. Also in 1940, during World War II, RMS Lancastria was attacked and sunk by the Luftwaffe near Saint-Nazaire, France. At least 3,000 people were murdered in what became Britain's worst maritime disaster. In 1939, the last public guillotining in France occurred when convicted murderer Eugene Weidmann was beheaded in Versailles outside the St. Pierre prison. In 1933, the Union Station Massacre occurred in Kansas City, Missouri, when 4 FBI agents and captured fugitive Frank Nash were gunned down by gangsters attempting to free Nash. Of all the ironic things to happen,
the use of words expressing something other than their literal intention. Now that is irony.
In 1932, approximately 1,000 World War I veterans amassed at the United States Capitol as the U.S. Senate considered a bill that would give them certain benefits. In 1922, Portuguese naval aviators Gaco Coutinho and Sacadura Cabral completed the first aerial crossing of the South Atlantic. In 1901, the College Board introduced its first standardized test, which was the forerunner to the SAT. In 1898, the United States Naval Hospital Corps was established. In 1885, the Statue of Liberty arrived in New York Harbor. In 1839, in the Kingdom of Hawaii, Kamehameha III issued the Edict of Toleration, which gave Roman Catholics the freedom to worship in the Hawaiian Islands. As a result, the Hawaii Catholic Church and the Cathedral of Our Lady of Peace was established. In 1795, the burghers of Swellendam expelled the Dutch East India Company magistrate and declared itself a republic. In 1789, in France, the Third Estate declared itself the National Assembly. In 1775, during the American Revolutionary War, colonists inflicted heavy casualties on British forces while losing the Battle of Bunker Hill.
Now at famous Bunker Hill, even though we lost, it was quite a thrill. The rebel Colonel Prescott proved he was wise. Outnumbered and low on ammunition as the British stormed his position. He said, "Hold your fire till you see the whites of their eyes."
In 1773, Cucuta, Colombia was discovered by Juan Rangel de Corella. In 1673, French explorers Jacques Marquette and Louis Joliet reached the Mississippi River and became the first Europeans to make a detailed account of its course. In 1631, Mumtaz Mahal died during childbirth. Her husband, Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan I, responded with spending the next 17 years building her mausoleum, the Taj Mahal. In 1596, the Dutch explorer William Barentses discovered the Arctic archipelago of Spitsbergen. In 1579, Sir Francis Drake claimed a land he called Nova Albion, known today as California, for England. And in 1244, following the Disputation of Paris, 24 carriage loads of Jewish religious manuscripts were burnt in Paris. Births: Barry Manilow, 1943, Newt Gingrich, 1943, Ted Nelson, 1937, Bud Collins, 1929. Deaths: Dick Hauser, 1987. And that concludes the show! Once again, check the underbar for any links you may be interested in. Don't forget to rate 5 thumbs and subscribe for your dose of past events daily. I am Aoxander, and you are you. Toodles!